Welcome, everyone. I will start introducing the conference we have today, the workshop we have today, Built with Bits. My name is Alteo Valentini, and we also take these 5 minutes introduction as an opportunity to wait for some other participants that are coming right now. This introductory workshop, this is the first day of 2 days workshop. That is a very nice opportunity we are offering through the Europeana education community, to the Europeana education community, bringing together the new Bauhaus initiative of the European Commission and some other innovative initiatives that I won't anticipate. My role today is just to give you a very warm welcome and focus on some housekeeping rules while you are entering. It will be very nice if you can introduce yourself in the chat. And I also take the chance to announce you that the webinar is recorded and will be made available online. Of course, we will be very happy if during the webinar, after the webinar, whenever you want, you show images, impressions, and opinions using the hashtag Europeana Education. And what else? Well, how to interact. We have a very interesting and dense program. So it will be, we will ask you to mute your microphone during the presentations, but you can definitely write questions using the chat function in Zoom. We will take care of collecting these questions and transfer them to the speakers. Don't worry, because there will be also the opportunity to have a more lively interactive session at the end of the webinar. We have a closing question and answer session, which won't be recorded. So you are invited to really join us until the end of today and of course tomorrow. This is the program for today. As you can see, it's a really interesting program. We have the opportunity to go into the details of the new Europeana Bauhaus with Vera Wittenhan from Joint Research Center of the European Commission. Based related to the topic of our workshop, we will listen about blended learning for high quality and inclusive primary and secondary education with a speech given by Ulrike Storost, Directorate General for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture of European Commission. And before the break, some insights of good practice, which is called Crowd Dreaming, presented by Paolo Russo, Secretary General of Stati Generali dell'Innovazione. Just after the break, let's go into the topic of what we will offer during the workshop. So digital transformation by Veronica Rodriguez, Macedonia from Spain, and immersive spaces in education, the second good practice that we want to show you, which is called Mimomo Faro, a project delivered by Tiago Tito Candeias, one of our ambassadors of Europeana educators in Portugal. The workshop today will finish with a detailed explanation of Built with Bits, which is the program that we are offering together with Macedonia and will be given by Daniel Llamas. And of course, as I said, a question and answer session. Let me speed up because I really don't want to take too much time. For those who are joining us for the first time, just to tell you that Europeana is an initiative of the European Union supported by the European Commission since the beginning in 2008. And our main role is really to work with GLAM professionals, so people active in the field of arts, museums, and creative industries, in order to create an open, knowledgeable, and creative society. How do we do this? Well, first of all, thanks to the contribution of a very huge and wide network of members, which is increasing every day. And we really hope that those who are not yet members during or after the webinars will join us. And our members, you can see them here. Let's hope to start doing this again very soon. We meet every year in occasion of the general assembly of the community. This is a picture taken from our last meeting in Portugal, and our online meeting is coming in the next weeks. Very important is also to mention about our communities. Of course, not all the professionals are focusing on the same topics, but these specific workshops has been designed by the education community, but as you can see, there are many other topics where professionals are delivering and contributing with many different activities, from communicators, impact, copyright, text, and research, but also new ones are coming, especially thinking about environmental topics. And within all the communities, but especially within our communities, these are the benefits of becoming a member of the European network. So as I said, you can join different communities. We facilitate collaboration, and there are a lot of experiences and good practices that you can reach through the different communication channels. There is the opportunity to lead the sector and really benefit from tools, resources, and many different experiences and portals which can be used in the educational sector. And of course, stay informed through the social networks, the Europeana Pro portal, where we publish all the events related to the Europeana network and the Europeana Foundation. And finally, as in this case, participate in events. We became quite good in providing online events during the last 2 years, but as I said, we are also planning many other activities in the future, going back to what we'd like to do also face-to-face. With these last words, I stop sharing my screen, which I hope I did it correctly, and I wish you a very productive workshop, starting with the new Europeana Bauhaus delivery by Vera Wittenaar. Vera, please.
So my name is Vera Windhagen. I'm part of the new European Bauhaus team, and I work in the European Commission in the Joint Research Center. And we started this initiative last year in September, so we're now 1 year on the go. So in the last 6 months, we had a co-design phase. We asked people, how do we want to live together after the pandemic? And we opened a website where everybody could share their challenges, ideas, and examples of good projects. And we had many, many reactions, a very good response. And people reacted, of course, Bauhaus sounds as if it's only about buildings, but people also mentioned to us furniture or food or public spaces or anything that touches our living environment after the pandemic and in the future. And this made us have now a vibrant community. And for example, we have about 270 partners that we now actively work with, and that also spread a little bit the word, under which a lot of research and education partners, as you can see in the slide, but also cultural and heritage partners. And this is the idea about the European Bauhaus, really working together in a transversal, transdisciplinary way. Because the three principles, and this is the only restriction that we gave to people, the three principles of the European Bauhaus is sustainability, making things beautiful, and being inclusive, so doing things together. And we asked people, what do you end up with if you have these three elements together? And from the more than 2,000 responses of projects that people sent in through their website, our website, we defined 4 different axes. So there were 4 different topics that people found very important in these new kinds of projects on how we want to live together. The first one is reconnecting to nature. And in this case, what people told us is that it's not only having green spaces in the city, but also let's see. Okay. I see something on my screen, but I think it's not a problem. So not only putting more nature in the city, but also being more life-centered instead of only human-centered. People also said that they wanted to regain a sense of belonging, so belonging to each other, but also to a place. And I will explain a little bit more later on. Then they said, we need to prioritize places and people that need it the most. And then some of the examples that were given was, for example, kids that could not have access to computers during the pandemic were heavily disadvantaged of having a good education program in the past 2 years. So how can we help those kids as well? But also the places, old industrial areas, how can we make sure that the connection between rural and cities is better? So it was a very wide variety of topics there again. And then really tackling the longer term thinking in the industrial ecosystem, for example, on renovating buildings. And the funny thing is that in all the good practices, as you can hear, they're very wide. There were 3 principles that were always came back. One was that they were always very local examples, so about a very specific place. They were always very participatory, so with a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different people, and especially citizens at the center. So having a new and different kinds of processes. And the transdisciplinary approach, which meant that it was not only about formally working together, so professionals working together, but also non-professionals working with professionals. So, as I said, regaining a sense of belonging, I took a couple of topics because I think, especially for you in this context, these could be a bit more relevant. What people said to us is we need to start building bridges between people and to encourage intergenerational solidarity. And we had many people that had projects either physically or digitally or that were about bringing different kinds of people together in new kinds of common spaces. Then what people also felt that gave a sense of belonging is doing things, like I already said, a little bit locally. So putting more emphasis on what we call the proximity economy. So making sure that you can reach all the important functions in your neighborhood within 15 minutes. Then there was a renewed value for cultural assets and cultural life. So what makes you feel at home somewhere is what a specific place makes a specific place. And architects call this the genius loci. So what makes a place a place. And then many examples talked about the binding elements, which is the cultural life. So the concerts, the actions, the workshops, the glue between people. And then education was also seen as one of the most important topics. And there, most of the keywords were around values, mutual understanding, but also about mindset change. And for example, people told us, if you want to be more sustainable, you have to start educating in a different way. Things should be more about empathy and common understanding and the importance of values and value of nature. So this is what you should work on. And then if we talk about inclusion, a lot had to do with accessibility. So having access to the same kind of information, or having access to your house doesn't only mean having access to a building, but also to the right mobility. And here we got a large recommendation for the Design for All principles. And I don't know if you don't know them yet, look it up, because it's really about having a participatory process with end users, so the users that you design for in mind. And there are lots of test questions in these principles that show how well you have designed your space and how inclusive you actually are. So there's lots of good examples. What we also did, and this was presented, I think 2 weeks ago, is the first New European Bauhaus prize. So we launched a prize where people could win 30,000 euros or 15,000 for young upcoming projects. And here we rewarded already existing projects, because this is what we see, that there are so many good examples already out there that they need to be spotlighted a lot better. And I just give you, I won't go through the whole, all the examples, but I just give you a hint of what these projects were. And I selected now the ones on education and a little bit on heritage. So you see that it very much fits with what you are doing. So this one is about critical thinking and learning through practice. And you can see everything on our website. So we have all the links there. This one is about testing new futures by making objects together. And this one is retrofitting a couple of very iconic buildings using digital tools and a participatory way of working. So after this half year of collecting all these examples, the Commission we wrote a document which was called a communication. It was adopted also 2 weeks ago. And this shows the plan that we have for the next 2 years based on all the input that we got in the last 6 months. And there are, I won't go through everything, but there we will go into 3 different areas. So we have now funding for specific places on the ground, funding for new ecosystems for innovation, so new methods, new tools around buildings, but also public space, also places of learning, and then also funding for new meanings through education and culture. And again, these are all, we stick to the principles of being transdisciplinary, local, and participatory. So that's what all these funding possibilities have in common. I won't go very much into this. This is our the lab that we will start in the next in a couple of weeks, where we will start experimenting again on specific topics. And this is, again, it's all on our website. And one of the topics for the lab is places of knowledge and education. This I will skip because I'm a bit slow, I think. And specifically for you, I want to mention that we will have in the beginning of 2022 a call for expression of interest on specific places on education and knowledge. It could be anything. So the expression of interest is a call where you can share your best practices. So for example, if you now have very good ideas or projects that you want to showcase, or have a better network or connect to others, you can already submit them there. And we will amplify your projects. And then in 2023, the New European Bauhaus Prize that we just had the first edition will be in 2023 exactly only on education. So then we will reward the best projects that we have seen in 2022. I keep it with this. This is the website. We have an Instagram page. We have a big audience, but I think your audience is also very large. So let us connect and please work together. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vera. So we can move over, and Ulrike, please. The only thing, Vera, if you have any relevant link that you can share with the participants to the chat, will be fantastic. For the respective calls that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, hello. So it's my pleasure to join you after Vera's presentation. My name is Ulrike Storost. I work in DG Education and Culture at the European Commission, and I particularly work on school education. So I'm really pleased today to speak to this audience. And yeah, the title is about blended learning, which potentially is maybe the right methodology now for the new European Bauhaus. At least I see a lot of links, and I try to make them in my presentation. Let's see if I can share it with you. So basically, yeah, the Commission tabled a proposal for a Council recommendation. And I want to tell you a little bit more what this is all about. And actually, it results from the experiences during the recent school closures and the restrictions in the last 1.5 years, where basically, yeah, I mean, teachers, school leaders, and pupils themselves, of course, they really experienced both the strengths and the weaknesses of the current school education system. So in a rather sharp way. So on the one hand, there was a tremendous capacity to innovate and adopt new approaches. But on the other hand, there was also a felt lack of collaboration, resources, and readiness of many stakeholders to actually integrate these different learning environments, strategies, and tools that came along with the restrictions to face-to-face teaching. So yeah, it was a rather radical shift to what we call remote emergency teaching, rather than a really systematic approach to blended learning. So basically what the Commission did is, drawing on these lessons from the crisis, proposed a Council recommendation on online distance learning for primary and secondary education, which now became this year in August the proposed Council recommendation on blended learning, to really develop shared understanding at the level of the European Union of the approaches needed to blend these different learning strategies, and first of all to build on the experiences made during the COVID crisis. So it's not a new approach, and maybe sometimes it's helpful to remember that distance learning in particular has had a proven has been a proven successful addition to school and higher education actually very long ago. So on this slide you see some examples. For example, here already in the 18th century, the world's first distance learning course is established in Boston with lessons sent by mail. There are examples of teaching by correspondence. There are examples of classes going to museums, of learning outdoors, the creation of professional and technical schools, work-based learning, and then also a rather well-known example of the School of the Air reaching out on long distances in Australia. So it's good to remind this and to remember that basically there are good examples in history, and this is something we can also build on when we are trying to move forward with blended learning now in the hopefully post-COVID times. So the proposal that the Commission tabled in August, it actually builds on a dialogue over the past 1.5 years with member states, educators, and education organizations. And after these stakeholder organizations on the 5th of August, we tabled the proposal. And we are currently now negotiating the exact text with the member states so that we hope that by the end of November, there will be a final council recommendation out there. So when we look at what the stakeholders actually said, there were some clear messages built on the momentum of change for school education, address the fears that were clearly there, but build on the positive attitude and reinforce also the positive attitude that actually came across from teachers, but also learners on the positive effects of the variety of learning tools, built on the capacity and collaboration of the different stakeholders, and provide system-wide support. Basically, there were some more messages coming out from the consultations here, for example, that we need to invest in the necessary resources. Schools also need, and teachers need more guidance on how to blend different methods of learning. Learners with different needs actually need also support. Then teachers and school leaders need support. All this is actually being taken up in the text. I'll come back to this in a second. We need to have the right school climate, including climate also of that cares for well-being of students and teachers. And we need more evidence of what works. So I'm speaking about blended learning, but this is the definition now that we use. There are actually, it's an umbrella term. And out there, there is research that that use different definitions. This is the definition that we use at the EU level for the recommendation. It basically has a very broad approach to blended learning. It means on the one hand blending in school and distance learning environments, and also blending different tools for learning. So very clearly here, it's blended learning doesn't only mean blending online learning with traditional learning or face-to-face, but it also means blending very different tools for learning. Come back to this in a second. So for example, blending in school and distance learning. So there we promote learning that can be facilitated both in school and also in other environments away from the school sites. And it was very nice what Vera just said, because I think blended learning can really build on these cultural assets and natural assets of a specific locations where the school is located in. So bringing in really museums and galleries, forests and waterways, but also organizing learning at home and places of work or training, or being inclusive for children that are basically temporarily bound to a certain place, like children in hospitals or children in high performance training, for example. So this would actually help if you have a systematic approach to blending these different learning sites. You would make learning also more inclusive, and you would contribute to a broader competence development due to the variety of learning environments. It also ultimately would make the learning approach much more attractive to learners and thus reduce the risk of dropout. There's also this aspect of doing things together, so collaboration. There's a link to the new European Bauhaus again. So basically a school that engages with practitioners with different expertise, promotes collaboration with the community, can also encourage a shared responsibility for the development of the young people. And this would in turn then help young people to understand and be motivated by learning, which is more engaging and much more practical, or has practical relevance to their everyday lives. The other form of blended learning would be blending digital tools, including those online, with tools that are more traditional. You see here a few examples, books at libraries, television, radio, smart boards, traditional blackboards. All these tools can, in a systematic approach, be blended together. And the idea here is not that one approach should be more prominent than the other one. The important thing is here that the teachers make actually use of course of their competence to choose the right tools for adapted to the age and the specific learning needs of each of their students. Now I turn to the goals of the recommendation. The idea was to, first of all, develop a common understanding and terminology across the EU of what blended learning is. The recommendation also takes up some direct reactions to COVID-19 challenges. So there are certainly things, for example, to offer catch-up classes, to make up for learning losses, to cater for the well-being of learners and teachers after this quite decisive experiences in the one and a half last years. But there are also specific recommendations to give it a long-term response for the European education area, to basically make primary and secondary school education better and more inclusive on the long run. So the idea is really to take the lessons learned, prepare positive actions, highlight also areas of support that the member states and the European Union can give to schools, teachers and learners, and share effective practices. We have actually a staff working document that will be published as a handbook on blended learning, which shows a lot of examples, a lot of good examples also. So we have recommendations that are directed specifically to the member states and that are broken down by different target groups. So support to learners, support to teachers and trainers, support to schools. We also propose the member states to make full use of the EU funds and to invest in monitoring, research and evaluation together with the school community. How can the Commission help in all this? We facilitate mutual learning, exchanges. We are encouraged to develop more resources, but we have some, to which I come back in the next slide. We offer also professional development courses for teachers. We have toolkits for schools to self-assess, for example, how inclusive they are and how to develop more inclusion policies. We support, not least also with funding, of course, member states in being digitally ready, because of course if you do a blended learning, and in this case, for example, online learning, you also need to have the infrastructure for this, including in the schools. And we will regularly report on progress. And now maybe I come in the last slides to some very practical tools for the teachers among you, the educators. So we have this school education gateway, which is a platform for school education for everybody interested in practices, resources, funding opportunities. And there you find a vast array of resources. So basically you can, I put it in here as an example, you can search for blended learning. And what do you find? Already now, today, you find a tutorial of what this is. You find examples of teaching material, an interview with a researcher, some news. We had this March, a massive open online course. And we certainly will offer more such courses in the future. So keep informed on the upcoming courses. We have guidelines and this handbook that I already mentioned, staff working document, which will be added very soon. Here you find the relevant links. There is a newsletter. There's also a specific newsletter for the upcoming online courses. You have here also, you have it on Facebook, Twitter. There's a specific YouTube channel as well. And maybe one specific other resource that I also want to highlight here particularly is the eTwinning community. So basically for those of you who are headmasters, teachers and school staff, join the eTwinning community, which offers you a platform for collaboration across Europe, to communicate, to find common project partners, in the end, then of course also develop the competences for your profession and just find a very thriving community. Here there are some of the latest numbers. You see that, we are reaching nearly 1 million teachers So this is quite impressive. And maybe just to make the closing link to the topic, from Vera in 2022, schools in the new European Bauhaus will be the annual theme of this community, and teachers will be invited, so as part of their activities, to reflect with their students about their dream school in the post-COVID times. So basically really building on what the students imagine, they can develop their vision of what is an ideal school, and that will be the participation of the contribution of these schools to the new European Bauhaus. So we maybe, you know, who knows, some of you will be the prize winners of what Vera announced in 2023 then with this yeah, contribution. That's it, I stop sharing. Thanks a lot.
That will be fantastic, Ulrike. Let's take note and see if we can replicate this program next year. There's a question for you, or actually I don't know if it's mainly a comment from Jenny, but also I don't know if this is in your domain, but it's about if there's any ideas, discussion for specific support schemes to remedy the delays caused to pupils because of the pandemic, particularly pupils at very crucial early stages of their development. So I don't know if you are aware about any kind of support coming from the Commission for these particular cases, or you can point us to some people, resources, places where we can find funding or support for teachers in this regard. So if it's possible to answer through the chat, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, let's move to the next speaker. Paolo, hand over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Isabel, and hello, everyone. And I am going to share immediately my screen, since we are quite on a tight schedule. And okay, here we are. And okay, my name is Paolo Russo. I'm here as the General Secretary of Stati Generali dell'Innovazione, an Italian association who advocates for innovation. And we are a network of professionals mainly, and I am part of this network because of bring to this network my competence on digital cultural heritage and immersive technologies. So that's why I led for the Italian side this beautiful project, the crowd dreaming youth co-create digital culture, that has been closed last March, and then I will go to explain. I will give you the key messages about this project, and also I will show you the main final deliverable, which is in an immersive space that helps us to understand better the deep connections between the cultures of European countries. So as you can see, this was an Erasmus KA2 project led by All Digital, an European NGO, and with partners from Croatia, Greece, Latvia, and Italy. Now, the crowdfunding project is extended to the European level, a good practice that was born in Italy in 2016. And in the first 4 editions of this contest, we had about 5,000 Italian students participating and over 250 schools. Now, what was this crowd dreaming youth co-create digital culture project? What is about? Validating the crowd dream methodology, extending the good practice, as I said, of the Europa Square Challenge, and creating a prototype of this digital monument, an immersive platform that I'm going to show you later on. The key ideas about this project. Well, we had in many ways the cultural goal that wants, and we asked the students to think about a Thanksgiving act, to imagine to meet another people from another country, another person from another country of Europe in a square for real, and having to connect to these people, to thank him or her for something that came to our own culture from this country. It's 99% of us is persuaded that everything has been invented in their own country, if not in their own garden. And this project wants to stimulate people, and especially younger people, to recognize that our cultures are really an overlay of many different cultures from all over Europe. And we gave them as a goal to collaborate building a digital monument. And this is the other side of the project. We engaged them in participating in a conceptual experiment, because all of us know, or things they know, what a monument is, but when you come to a digital monument, it is something completely different, because a bronze statue, once you have built it, will stay there for 2000 years with no problems, unless of earthquakes, etc. While when you build something digital, you switch the light off and it's gone. And this is just an example of the many challenges, the conceptual challenges that you have to face when you start thinking about how to make something digital live for 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years. This way, we brought them to reflect, to think about what the digital technologies really mean. What is the digital thing? Because very often we just conceive the digital like magic. The things happen out of nothing because the computer does them. Instead, all the digital technologies are tightly connected to energy. They are energy manipulating technologies, and this is really something that a lot of people still need to understand. Working with digital cultural heritage is really a nice context to stimulate people to think about what really digital technologies mean. And also it is it follows the STEAM educational approach. It is a perfect example because we were conjugating culture, art, liberal arts, and immersive digital immersive technologies. So a few numbers. We created 81 digital Thanksgiving scenes, mostly videos. More than 1,400 students participated from Italy, Croatia, Greece, and Latvia. And when finally we released the platform, we had more than 2,500 registered users in little more than 2 weeks. And since then, the last 6 months, we had people that at much slower pace kept registering for free, of course, to the platform and starting to play with it. Also, we were very happy because once they saw our platform, Italia Nostra, which is an Italian NGO that advocate for cultural heritage, they decided immediately to adopt it as a platform to present the outcomes of the annual education program with, as you can see, more than 2,000 students. So it is something that, as you will see, it's not rocket science. It's quite simple, but very, very effective. And I just want to show the effect of using immersive, cool technologies on attention. Because here you can see the statistics of the website in the first first couple of years of life of the project. It went long because of the pandemic, as you can imagine. So you can see the traffic in the first 20 months, and on March, we released the immersive platform, and you can see the immediate difference in attention. Okay, I will not speak for long about this project, only to say that it's not a technology only, it has not been a technology only project, but it comes from our attempt, from educators' attempt to answer to the question, how can we still lead, how can we still help the youth, younger people to learn, how can we guide them towards the future when we are living in a world where maybe the analytical model, the industrial model, also to build knowledge, is facing a crisis. And we are moving and we're trying to find something different, maybe going in the stigmergic direction, in a stigmergic approach to organization, to also creation of educational content. How can we lead them? And this is, we have elaborated a methodology which is tightly connected to one of the many methodologies that are trying to plan the future as it emerges. We try to make it fun, to make it engaging for teens. Theory U is fantastic, but it's very boring for younger people, and not only to them. So this is what we did, making it more palatable. And also to do that, we start from the idea to make something like an Hollywood movie, because if a project has, if a project succeeds, it has a success story. So we engaged the teachers and the students in building, in developing, creating this success story as if it were an Hollywood movie. In some cases it worked, in some cases it didn't, but we're quite happy with the result. Just final quick info about technology, since this is something that you are going to see also in tomorrow's workshop. Whenever it is possible to use open source frameworks or web-based solutions, we are very happy to do that. It is not always the case, but in this case it was. So we delivered two versions of Europa Square, one in augmented reality using the platform ARJS, and another one in virtual reality that I'm going to show you momentarily, using the platform Mozilla Apps. In both cases, we are talking about open source, free software that anybody can use just through their own browser. The project is not finished. We are already moving to the next step using the same concept and the same technologies to build a museum, so to recreate essentially the same concept inside the museums to create customized visits for kids of the primary school. And we are using both the methodology and some of the technical results of the crowd-dreaming project. Now, here in the presentation, you have the address of the website. And now I'm going to close to stop sharing my presentation to move towards the browser. And I am going to show you, and I'm going to show you as soon as I share my screen again with the new target, which is here. Okay, this is the website of the project. From Europa Square, you can enter Europa Square, and I jumped a couple of passages to make it faster. You arrive here, you can see that we had plenty of schools from Europe, so we have already many symbols of the crowd dreaming project spreading around Europe. From each one of these, you can access to a customized instance of Europa Square, where each school can add their own content. Now, this is the moment, this is where you really pray that internet connection is going to work, that in that moment the server is not down. Okay, it looks like we are there. I have a video anyway, a backup video. So we are now on the Mozilla Labs platform. It is a platform created by the Mozilla Foundation, and you can use it for free on their own servers, or you can use the software to set up your own server. And it is a social VR environment. So now I am here alone, unless somebody else will visit the place while I am here. But the important thing is this is not just a 3D environment game. This is a place where you can meet with people, when you can meet with people, and it's better if I mute my microphone to avoid problems. So you can meet with people, you can have you can visit it together, and you can also organize lessons, because I will show you that it is possible to use a video conference. We could have had this workshop inside Europa Square if we would have decided to do that. A very important thing to say, you can access Mozilla Labs, so Europa Square, from your PC, from your smartphone. It is really cross-platform, and you can access it also with some VR headset. So you can have a truly immersive experience inside here. But it is very important that anyway, you can just visit also from any PC or a smartphone. So we created a nice garden. Again, this is not, this is a simple structure, not the most beautiful that we could have done. But it is very easy to understand, it is very easy to navigate, and we created it as a central garden where inside the building you can learn how to use this platform, and you have portals to all the countries that received some Thanksgiving from the schools participating to the project. So I will show it quite quickly so that we don't have too much delay on our program. So let's go to Greece. Greece was very popular. So I visited this room, and I will be transported inside this room, where I will find all the videos that has been created by the participants to the project to thank you, Greece. So Just to have the general idea, this is very easy to do. You go around, you can see that there is plenty of videos placed around. So you go, you just start in front of it, you start the video, and you are not going to listen to it, but it's quite easy. Now, Croatia was thanking Greece for giving them a specific instrument, traditional instrument. And you can find plenty of these test cleaning around the different rooms, and you will discover something very curious now and then. For example, I was surprised to discover as an Italian that the tie, we love fashion, we didn't invent tie, it was invented in Croatia. So again, you can have some surprise, and this is the real goal, cultural goal of this project. Now, I could go around and let you see 80 different Thanksgiving. Okay, the voice I'm hearing is the video. Hopefully you don't see it. Very quickly, just to give you an idea. So you can create content that can stimulate a reaction by students, by kids, and then they can interact, because as you can see, now I'm not doing it because we are already on Zoom, that would be complicated, but I could share my camera, and so I could just speak with you like I'm speaking with you on Zoom, or could share my screen, or could also activate the camera on my avatar. I am a puppet. I will try to show it in a moment. And so I can be an astronaut and just talk with you. And I can draw, I can take selfies. This is, of course, very important. And as you can see, I am that astronaut. I am about to take a selfie of myself, or a video selfie. And this is good, for example, to have students answer to questions and produce very simple movies. I can insert 3D models, other scenes, images. Of course, I can react to what somebody is saying. I can write on the chat. So there are really a lot of very effective, very engaging tools that will make the students, the participants, amuse themselves a lot. It works very well. The only missing thing is that once they start to have too much fun, it is very difficult to keep them in line, especially if you have 20 kids inside here, or 20 adults very often. So this is, now I'm closing my sharing and going to summarize. So I showed you very quickly the outcome, the main deliverable of this project. And it was a very effective way, because it gave something concrete, a concrete goal to students and teachers to reach, and that always helps, together with trying to win a contest, but having to build something that, of course, I can't call it a digital monument. It doesn't even come close to be a monument, what we built, but proposing them this challenge made them think about what would mean to build a digital monument, and also in this way they learned a lot. So sometimes it's not so important the destination, but the trip is way more important. And the trip was really great in many cases, and some schools produced really outstanding results. And hopefully you will want to visit it and learn more. So I am only 3 minutes late on the schedule. So I think this is good, especially for the ones who know me and how much I love to talk. And so Isabel, please, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Paolo. No, it was fantastic to know a bit more about the project. We have been following from the starting. So nice to see all the results, and maybe give us, to all of us and the future participants of the mentoring program, an idea of what their future immersive spaces may look like. So now we are gonna use these minutes to stretch a bit our legs, take a coffee. You can also use the chat to engage with other participants now, and let's see you in a few minutes. Thank you very much. So hello everyone, welcome again. It was a bit short, but we want to catch up with the schedule as planned. So now, with no further ado, I'm gonna hand over to Veronica. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm looking for my slides so I can do this my best, and for sure I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself, but just a little. Just one sec. Well, first things first, I'm not a native English speaker, so sorry if my English is kind of confusing. I do sound more smart in Spanish, but I'll try to do my best for this session. My name is Veronica Rodriguez. That's why my nickname is I am VR, because of virtual reality and because of Veronica Rodriguez. And I'm a VR consultant and communicator. My media is more focused on media communication. Also, I did some research and some work at branded content and transmedia storytelling. That is a really cool thing, but I'm not going to talk about it right now because this will be like really long. But when I decided that what I wanted to do, what's really my passion was virtual reality, I started back in 2016 with a certificate in VR production. Back in that time, that was really new, and a lot of things have changed since then. One of the first things I learned is that if I wanted to get involved in this industry, I for sure had to learn some development and technical skills. So I decided to go to LA, to California, to do a course in Unity development. That wasn't that good. I'm terrible at programming, but I did learn a lot. And when I came back to Spain, I presented, I started working in a startup about VR and AR, and we did a great research about what was the status of the industry, of the landscape in Spain. It was like 200 companies working in that moment, and well, that was kind of the start. And I'm being involved in initiatives concerning the divulgation of VR technologies, like for example the Virtual Reality Day, or I'm involved also with the main Spanish media outlet about VR called Real Virtual. And right now I'm working in a marketing and strategy role at a consultancy agency where, well, right now 5 minutes away I was shooting with my team Zombies because we were trying the multiplayer games for some of our clients. So well, that's a little about me. And well, my other passions, I love theater, singing, narratives, and a lot of researching. That's what I have a blog that's in Spanish that is called I Am VR, and there I write a lot about what I'm learning in virtual reality, because well, back in that time in 2017 when I started, it was all new, and now a lot of things have changed. But I'm not going to talk more about me, and I was supposed to talk about digital transformation in these slides, but we better talk about virtual transformation, or metaverse transformation if you prefer, because when we think about digital, we probably think about social media, about websites, about SEO, about e-learning platforms. And when we talk about virtual transformation is another thing. And that's what I'm gonna try to talk to you now. But we're gonna do it like in a way that you will probably understand everything and for sure get some insights or some learnings. First, when we talk about virtual transformation and everything, my main focus is on immersive technologies. Those are virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and like the umbrella term that is called extended reality. But that's more like the definitions. I will also love to talk to you about the relevance of these technologies, especially concerning with education. And well, let's get started. Let's start with definitions. So when we talk about virtual reality, when someone showed me this video of Mary Poppins, I was like, whoa, this is great for showing people what VR is like, because practically is like that, like you go inside a digital, an artificial, a simulation world where everything feels kind of real and you can interact with the things that are inside that virtual or artificial world. And so even though this is a really old movie, the concept really works for explaining what VR is. But I also love, as a teacher, I also love like having definitions, like real definitions. So what virtual reality is like a three-dimensional simulation that can be computer generated or can recreate reality through 360 cameras, right? But in that cases we cannot move, but I'm gonna talk about that later. The real virtual reality, the one that's really cool, is the one that immerses you in an environment, normally through a head-mounted display, like those are the VR goggles. Right now there are many different types of VR goggles that also support AR. And about virtual reality, it can be non-immersive when you see it through, for example, in your smartphone when you play a 360 video. Some may say that's VR, some may say not. It's non-immersive VR. Semi is when you have something like more, for example, with the screens, and fully immersive virtual reality is the one that you play with, you have with the Googles. And it can be interactive or it can be contemplating. You can have interactivity in that experience, or you can just walk around, or well, not walk, but see or watch what's going on around. And this is key to understand what VR is about, right? Because we have seen a lot that VR is like a 360 video, but in a 360 video, you cannot walk around that environment you're seeing. You're stuck in a place and you can see around, but you cannot turn around. You cannot go behind something or underneath a table. That's something that you can do in like the real virtual reality. And this is called the 6 degrees of freedom versus the 3 degrees of freedoms, or room scale. 6 degrees of freedom is that you can move freely in that artificial environment, and that changes everything. It's a new way of understanding the digital space and what we can do in it. Like, for example, painting in 3 dimensions is like, first time is like, it breaks your brain. It puzzles you a lot because you're really used to paint in 2D, and it's a cool experience that everyone should try. Even if they have tried VR, like painting in VR, it's really cool and a different thing. And we have advanced a lot of the things that we can do in virtual reality. Right now we have Googles that can track our hands in the game, even if we don't have I forgot the name for the controller, even if you don't have a controller. And the best part for me is that VR, it's social. You can play collaboratively with other people and inside that virtual world. And of course, that's a really cool experience. And I can tell, I've been killing zombies 5 minutes ago, and it was very cool. So next one we want to talk about is augmented reality. And also this fiction movie tells a lot about what AR can be. It's like the the digital layers that can tell us information about our real environments. In if we talk about the definition of virtual reality, of augmented reality, it's just about the technology that overlays the digital information into our real environment. We can see it through a smartphone, we can see it through an iPad, or we can see it through smart glasses. They are working on it. 3 years ago, that wasn't even a possibility, even though Google tried. It was not a possibility. Right now, they are working on it. And unlike VR, that even if you can go to the moon if you want in VR, because you are in the moon inside the headset, you cannot move freely in a space. So you have like, even if you have a bigger space, you can move certainly. But with augmented reality, if you have played or seen or heard about Pokemon Go, you can see that you can move in the space. You can go catch a Pokemon through a whole city, or even between countries, right? So that's one of the big differences with VR, and it can be interactive and it can change or react in real time. Also important, while VR is all computer generated or simulated, artificial, the augmented reality uses like the real physical world as a base. It doesn't create that entire digital environment from scratch. So the real world is kind of what remains like central to the experience. And we have seen a lot of AR. I mean, a lot of people may have tried VR, but they don't know that they have seen AR in a lot of places. For example, if you have Instagram or TikTok, if you have tried the lenses, that's augmented reality. Or maybe you have seen some of this amazing news about the weather. They are playing that digital layer that you can see through your TV. So that's also augmented reality, even though it's a really non-interactive way of augmented reality. The best part of augmented reality is also it can be multiplayer. You can have a shared reality, and that's really cool too, because you can, like, for example, collaboratively learn something or play against an enemy or that kind of things. But augmented reality, as cool as it can be, or even a little bit of marketing with the part of the Snapchat lenses and everything, it can be really useful and interactive for learning and for practicing and for training. Like, for example, this case that we have of the boy playing basketball, that's an app called Home Court, where people train with this with the smartphone, and the technology plays that part of making him train. Or really useful for people like me that don't know exactly where things are. I'm really bad at locating things and knowing how to move in a space. So with Google Maps, for example, you can have that the little fox that helps you, like, this is the way, like you have to go this way, and it's in real time, like, no, not this way, the other way around. No, it can be really useful in that way. And of course, we also have that part of the information in context. For example, we have this video of the kids, like, knowing how a flood would be, like how high the water will be, and that type of things. Let's move to mixed reality. Another example, like an old example to explain mixed reality, is this one about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because as if you can see, the real world and the digital world are mixed, but it's not just that. It's not a layer. They understand each other. The digital bunny is taking the real jacket, or right now it's going to make a mess in the table, and the environment reacts to that. That's kind of what mixed reality is. That is a greater or better version of AR. If you talk about MR, AR, they're kind of the same, but MR is like better. So in mixed reality, what you have is this mix of digital and virtual elements in the space. it's not just the virtual or the digital things overlaying in the real world. It's more like a mix that things understand this object, these layers, these assets that you put in the real world, understand that there is a table, that there is a wall, where the things are and how they are, for example, that the person is coming through. And so it would, that overlay wouldn't work because that people is going over. It's a more advanced level of augmented reality because the technology is able to recognize the environment using depth sensors. If you have or have seen an iPhone, the last ones, they're really good at that. They kind of map all your room, and so they have great MR or AR possibilities. And you can also manipulate these layers. It's not that I put my smartphone facing an apple and a layer tell me, hey, this is an apple, but maybe I can have a little worm coming out of that apple and I can pick it, or I can interact with it in some way. More like visual for understanding this. We also talk about mixed reality for videos, showing what VR is like, because it mixes the real and the virtual. So if you kind of, if someone talks about mixed reality, referring to these videos, this type of videos, it's okay. It's not a technology itself, it's just like the concept of mixing real and virtual, but it's okay. But as I said, the most important thing is that there are intelligent digital layers that understand where they are and if they are going to hit something, for example. And of course, as I said, you can manipulate objects, and it can be also collaborative, because we have like this shared reality that not only you can see, but also other people going around. And even it can be persistent if you, like, for example, have a seed, planting a seed on the ground, and you go 3 days later, it can have grown, like in the virtual world, or that type of things. We're gonna get there. But if this was confusing or this was weird for you, you're gonna be, it's gonna be difficult for me to explain what comes next, but I'll try my best. Even though right now the world that everyone is talking about is metaverse, but before that we talked about extended reality. Extended reality, or XR, is not another technology. It's just an umbrella concept to talk about VR, AR, and MR. It was kind of the buzzword that all the media and professionals adopted back in, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years ago. Right now, no one's barely talking about XR. They are more barely talking about the metaverse, but there are two different kinds of things. XR is like the umbrella term to talk about immersive technologies, virtual, augmented, mixed reality, and the metaverse is another thing that I'm gonna talk to you right in a second. So all these things, all these definitions have something important, like there's some relevance in what everything I have explain or briefly and show you, and this is the part that is more difficult for me to explain, because it's like even difficult to understand or to accept that something of that relevance is going on at this time, and it's really exciting. The first thing to understand better this situation is to understand it in context. Computing have been evolving over the years. We had PC, we then have the internet, and then we managed to have this internet going inside some tiny little things like these ones. And the mobile computing changed a lot of how we consume, a lot about how we communicate, a lot about how we, for example, shop. And right now, what's going on is that the next computing platform is not gonna be through 2D displays. It's not gonna be through a screen of a laptop or a smartphone. It's gonna be more through head-mounted displays or smart glasses or smart watches that are gonna display the information in the environment, not just in a screen. That's what called spatial computing. and like it's more natural for human beings to interact and to understand information that way. It's better for me to take my phone or a smartphone, smart glasses or whatever, and see like, okay, this is the street I wanted to go inside, and my office is in the second floor just with a click, not having to look it inside on a smartphone. And there are a lot of big companies working on this, like Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft are really working on having all these technologies and all these concepts going further. And explaining the metaverse is kind of difficult, but a visual, like I have done before with Mary Poppins and with Roger Rabbit and everything. I do love Disney, but I didn't have this like in mind too. But it was perfect because this example of Ralph Breaks the Internet is kind of what a good way to understand what the metaverse, the concept of the metaverse is. It's like going like an evolution of the mobile internet, where we can have like different interactions, like different type of behaviors and consumption of the information around us. Of course, it's not that weird if we think about the gaming platforms that already exist, like Fortnite, where you can have heroes from Marvel, or footballists, or football players, or singers inside that world, that it's a game world. But the thing is that the gaming platforms are becoming the next social. So that's kind of what is building the base of the metaverse. But it's not just about gaming. It's about having a digital life that is connected with a real one in a new way. So I can have like it's not so about VR only. VR is just a layer, a way to enter that metaverse space. It's more about how everything that we are doing right now is it has a lot of connection with the digital world, and what is the next step that we can do to enter inside the internet, inside instead of just connecting through the screen. I know it's difficult to understand. I'm still trying to understand it myself, but it looks like everything is going in that way. We'll see. Of course, it's far away. We still have to work a lot, but that's kind of the buzzword that everyone's talking about right now, and the one that a lot of people is trying to understand. But as we are talking about relevant, I want to be relevant for you, for the teachers, and we got to talk about immersive learning, the one that places the individuals in an environment where they can replicate possible scenarios, or they can be taught particular skills or technique. And the better thing of this is that they are risk-free. There's a safest place because it's not real, but they can practice as it was real. It's really accurate. Of course, this learning strategy, it's something that, like, practicing makes the master, or something like that. I don't know what's the translation exactly, because I'm translating from Spanish. But if you can practice a lot, for sure you're gonna learn how to do something, and that the immersive learning platforms can let you do that. And on one of the other things that are really cool is that learners aren't simply passive spectators, but they get to be like the protagonists, or be inside, or be really engaged with what they are doing inside these immersive scenarios. And we have a lot of different examples. I don't know if I'm running good. I think so. We're a little bit late. So let me show you just real quick. Like, if I want to see how a pineapple is, or what a pineapple is, and I can simply play with those words and see what type of things can I do. It's really easy for me to learn because it's visual learning, and I have a specific emotional reaction. It can be because I'm in my favorite Greek ancient city. It can be because I'm seeing how a land works, or what a pineapple is, because I didn't know what a pineapple was. It can also have the best thing is that you learn by doing things. For example, this example here in the right, you embody a character, an historical character, so you can be that character and you can teach what he was like, what he learned, the theories he worked on, and you can do it in distance, and you can learn by doing, by being that character, or just mixing some cells in a lab. And that's the other part, the interactive learning, that is really different. Interactive learning, like in gaming, works really well, but in VR or AR takes a different level that works really, really well. So that was kind of what like the introduction. So now you can understand better that there are platforms, that there are VR worlds that can be accessed not only through VR Googles, but also through the computer. And those type of platforms make it easier for people to create or to learn or to teach. They are like tools where we can create whatever we want, and we can share that space with other people. Of course, it's still going on, and we have a lot to improve, but they are like really easy to get into. And the one that the team will be talking about in these events that are going on today and tomorrow, it's Mozilla Hubs. And that's a great example, because you can easily build socially with people and be in that space. And it kind of feels like what we have been talking about, like user creativity, metaverse, and everything. And well, that was kind of my introduction. I hope it was a little bit mind-blowing, but it was also useful for you, because the best thing that I can tell you is that you gotta try it, because knowledge is information acquired through experience. So you gotta experience what I have been talking about to really understand it. And I hope that you can in this type of things that we are doing. So well, that was all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Your English is excellent. I mean, there's not many English native speakers in the room, I think. So it was a fantastic overview for probably the participants of the mentoring program to know where they are getting into. And I think that we have to be aware if for this generation of professionals, maybe it's a new environment. For the students, this is something maybe more familiar, or it will be in the future. So this is a good way of experimenting new ways of learning via immersive spaces. So thank you very much, Veronica. I'm going to hand over quickly. If you have any questions for her, please use the chat. She'll be kind to answer a few questions if you have any of them. And let's hand over to Tito, Tiago Candellas, who is going to also present a fantastic best case in Mimomo Faro. But I give the floor to you, Tito.
So first of all, thank you, Isabel, for inviting me here. I'm, like Veronica said, I'm sorry for my English, so I'm not a native speaker and I'm not that used to it, but I will try my best. So I'll present you our experience on the My Momo Faro project, which combines heritage and Minecraft in a non-formal educational way in the schools of Faro. So for you to be, I will contextualize the project for you to know more about what made us do this. And for you to understand, Faro stands out as a modernist city in the Southern Europe with around 500 buildings, modernist buildings, in a rather unique modernism because it's strongly adapted to the climate of the Algarve region and strongly influenced by the Latin American modernist architecture. And this is also because we have like a special built fabric in the city that resulted in a classification of a urban complex as of municipal interest in Faro in 2020. And this was one of the main things that led us to explore this theme on this project. So on the other hand, we have the FARO Convention, which is the Council of Europe's framework convention on the value of cultural heritage for society, and that our city here in FARO gives the name. So for us, it was really important to connect the city with the convention and try to make a program, a consistent program of some initiatives that could connect the city with the convention and to improve our experience leading with cultural heritage. So the FARO Convention is really a turning point in heritage thinking because of the shared responsibility, the right to participation, and promoting here a broad and interdisciplinary understanding of cultural heritage as part of the human rights and democracy. And we have like these five essential things that the FARO Convention says and promotes, that is sustainability, access, the participation, the use of digital technologies, and of course, the added value that the new generations and the contemporary creativity can have on the cultural heritage sector. So with this in hand and combining heritage and digital to the modernist architecture in FARO, we want to make an improvement and to contribute to the access of the kids and the students and teachers to this cultural heritage. And as said in the twinning book, the digital really makes here a turning point in heritage education, in education, because exploiting these themes, it's a never-ending endeavor. So we have here new opportunities of interaction and usage of cultural heritage education improved by the digital and these new technologies. Talking more about the project itself, the name is My Momo Faro because it's Minecraft and the modernist architecture, like Momo as modern movement in Faro. So our question was at the beginning, what if Minecraft was more than just a game? And this project begins in the scope of the Faro candidacy to the European Capital of Culture in 2027, and as an initiative of the Faro City Council to explore in a pilot project this non-formal heritage education. So we know that the kids nowadays are like digital natives, although most of them don't really have a correct or specific domain on digital technologies. So our goal was to bring Minecraft into schools and to improve the pedagogical value of technologies in education, promoting an interdisciplinary project to try to make heritage and prove that heritage is a possible basis for a transversal education. So we had like teachers from different subjects and areas teaching the expected subjects on the curricula through this theme of the modernist architecture and through the Minecraft education. So what we achieved at first and what was our main goal was to integrate heritage in schools, daily life and curriculums, and to articulate this with the 21st century skills through the project and game-based learning approaches. Who did this Minecrafting modernism? Who did this project? So in this first edition, which was a pilot edition to try to explore all of this stuff, we we engaged more than 120 students between 12 to 80 years old from all of the 6 middle schools in the municipality that participated in this edition with one class, and more than 20 teachers that had specific training in Minecraft applied to education and to cultural heritage, and that was with the support of some training teachers, which Marco belongs to the Europeana and to the specifically to this program, and some cultural heritage and architecture professionals during this project. And what we made was involved like with 13 subjects from really different disciplinary areas, as languages, science, mathematics, and many more. So to prove that cultural heritage could really be transversal to all of them. How we made it. At first, and to explain you more about the process of implementing this project, at first we did the specific training to the teachers on how to use Minecraft Education Edition applied to education and to cultural heritage. Then we selected the buildings based on the original plans that we had here in the municipality, and based on the value that they had on the criteria defined by the classification of the urban complex. On a third phase, we went to the schools, not because of the pandemic, we weren't able to be there physically, but we went online on Zoom, and we had some thematic classes on the modernist architecture with some professionals responsible for the classification process of this urban complex. And then the kids started to work on these with these plans, with a bunch of materials that we gave them, and started to work with these on the classrooms and exploring not only the buildings, but also the school curricula to the modernist architecture. When the pandemic started to calm down, we were able to bring the kids to the street and to make guided tours to the buildings and to this urban complex, so they can stay in touch for real with this architecture. And finally, the kids presented their projects, their Minecraft worlds, what they've learned, their experience with for all of the participants and all of the partners that were able to attend the closing ceremony. The results was like a modernist Minecraft world. We had like 6 houses, one per school, and this was really an immersive space in Minecraft, because the kids were able not only to build based on the original plans, but also to explore and add information about the architecture, the modernist movement, through some different ways. One of them was the NPCs, the non-player characters that is possible on Minecraft. So they created like narratives aligned with the projects and with the virtual constructions of the buildings. So our playing achievements in this first edition was a really a greater appreciation and sense of belonging from kids, teachers, and the community in Faro in general. That they showcase the potential of game-based learning, not only on learning about cultural heritage, but also as Minecraft is really a facilitator in promoting these teach and learning processes, making the classes more dynamic, interactive, and promoting a collaborative and teamwork between not only the students in each class, but also in different schools, the teachers in different schools. We created really a community around this project, which was really good. That's why we are trying to make a second edition. And the best highlight here was certainly the motivation noticed not only on the kids, but also on the teachers, using this tool to explain their subjects in a very innovative and different way was really awesome. And specifically, I think personally that the success of this project was really that it happened on a pandemic context, and it really could maintain the motivation during these hard times for everyone. So the kids continued to be motivated, even they had classes online from their houses. And also, of course, we contributed to the democratization of the cultural heritage, bringing this topic to schools, which is sometimes not that much studied or talked about. And as well, we contributed to the access and participation of all of the kids and teachers in the cultural life and in these kind of matters. And of course, the biggest achievement that we had was that it could really be possible to make heritage as a basis for a transversal education. Heritage is transversal to all of the subjects and areas. We just have to be creative, and that was one of the lessons that we had. And the teachers were super enthusiastic, and the kids, of course. So they want to make a second edition, and we are trying to prepare it and to expand it to more people. And now, since we are talking about in this workshop, and we'll talk about the new European Bauhaus along the program. I try to make a connection with the project and how it meets the new European Bauhaus spirit. We actually applied to the European Bauhaus prizes. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the last stage, but it was really cool. So how can we say that it contributes to a beautiful Europe? It's not only because of the architecture itself, but because of the architecture as a source of artistic and creative inspiration for so many things, like teaching other stuffs. It's beautiful. And this appropriation of this aesthetic for the kids, this architecture was really strange at first sight, because we are talking about contemporary architecture, not the traditional one, and they are not that so connected. And it's common for them to see them in the streets, and they don't value that much. So appropriating this aesthetic was really important, and showing them the potential of using like local and the traditional materials in a different way. We try to tell them that it's possible to make different and to make things beautiful, even when we have something that at first sight we don't see as it. So in a sustainable way, of course, while we are raising awareness on this architecture, we are contributing to the preservation, and the kids were really valuing more this architecture. And some of them were like, oh, I want to live in a modernist house. So I want to be an architect. And this was really cool to hear, because we noticed, okay, this is making a difference. It could be just a tiny and little difference, but it's making a difference. And of course, the importance of the sustainability in this architecture and how it takes advantage of the environment was really important to teach to the participants, because it's really an architecture that values that much that relation between man and environment. And by promoting these new pedagogical approaches on schools, we are opening to new resources and methods and make this educational system more sustainable in a certain way. And together, of course, by enhancing this democratization of cultural and cultural heritage alongside with education, and of course, promoting this participation in these issues regarding their personal backgrounds, and the use of Minecraft was really, really important to break these barriers, because they were learning without realizing it. And some of them were some problematic classes that the kids are, they don't like to learn, but they really like to learn this way with Minecraft. And the teachers were really surprised with their motivation and the results at the end of the project. And so thank you very much, and let's build a new future block by block.
Thank you very much, Thiago. I think that was an admirable project, that it worked very, very well, successful from the beginning until the end. I think also what you mentioned, that the fact that it was during the pandemic and everybody wanted to accelerate their digital skills and to become digital competent to make innovative things with their students and necessary things to engage with their students online. Was the perfect scenario, even if it wasn't planned this way. So we have 3 minutes. If anybody wants, that's fantastic. If anybody wants to make any question online right now to Thiago or to Veronica, just please go ahead. Is anyone interested in to start a discussion or questions, comments? Otherwise, let's take a break, because it's quite a stretch program. I know that all of you have been working probably very intensively this morning with kids. So let's take then a longer break for do whatever you need now. And let's see each other again at 3, let me see that I'm not making a mistake. At 4:10, so we have 12 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. See you in a while. So welcome back, everyone. Now our colleagues from the Macedonia team, Daniel Llamas and Navid Mingorans, they are gonna walking us through the program of the mentoring program and educational challenge Build with Bits. So I'm gonna hand over to Daniel, I think, right? So please.
Perfect, thank you, Isabel. I'm gonna share the screen, first of all. So just tell me you can see it, right?
Yes, all good.
Perfect. So we're going to end this first day of the kickoff workshop with the explanation of what this program is about, and the program is Build with Bits, and this is the starting point of what we're going to do during the next months. So we are going to be talking live for 30 minutes, then we have the question and answer time afterward, just to end up the session. So any question as before, you can write it in the chat, and then we will talk about that in the end of the presentation. First of all, I wanted to introduce ourselves because we are Daniel and David, like Isabel said, and we are working together in this studio that is called Macedonia. In my case, Daniel Llamas, I work with the strategy part of design. I make research, I do facilitation in different kind of processes, and I also very related with the educational world in the sense that I am teacher, but also mentor in different universities here in Madrid, where I live. And also I have been very involved with the design of different kind of communities related to the cultural and social, with the cultural part and the social impact. And also in the case of David, that actually is called David Mingorance because it's a Spanish surname, although it may seem like French. He works in the intersection of arts, design, and technology. And actually, before you were talking about this in the chat, about the question of how to merge these two worlds, the technology with the arts, and he's the expert about immersive technologies like Veronica. So actually, we work together, and she was also part of Macedonia. And also David makes a thing that is very important here to understand the relevance of the program, because he works as a cultural mediator. And this means that when you are putting a new technology in the hands of people that maybe had never heard about that, they may seem like lost with the technology or with the new tools, and then you have to make like this intermediate point between the technology and between the knowledge that they had before. So the person here that makes this connection and try to make everyone to understand what the tool is about, and how you can use this tool to fit your needs and to fit your objectives, your personal objectives, is something very important. So here in the program, we are working actually as cultural mediators or technology mediators, and it's something very important to understand, as I said, the relevance of the program. And just to finish this introduction, we work in Macedonia, and this is the name of our studio, and I know it may sound like paradoxical because we are here in Spain and some of you are Greek, so maybe you can ask this, or you're going to ask it someday. The name Macedonia here in Spain, besides the geographical meaning, also means fruit salad. So we are a studio that works in a way that we are all freelance with different specialities, so different kind of expertise. So when we come together to develop or to achieve a project, then we choose like the different fruits that really fit to develop that project. So this is the meaning of Macedonia here in Spain, and also in Italia, it has the same meaning. And just to sum up this introduction, we work overall in projects that have a kind of social or educational or cultural impact, and we make this working along with different kind of institutions, sometimes city halls or museums or universities that want to create innovative processes that may end up into a product, into a service, into experience, always working also with the intersection, as I said, between the virtual world and the physical world, and creating different ways to innovate or to make this, as I said, this intersection. So this is the moment just to end up to talk about ourselves. So we are going to explain what Build with Bits is, and this is the name that we created for this program. And as I suppose you are ready to know about what we have to tell about it. And just to begin with the beginning, these are the two main objectives of the project or the program. The first of all, is to teach different teachers as you in the technology that we are going to use. In this case, this is Mozilla Hubs. and we are going to teach you about the possibilities of the platform, of the tools, and in the technical part with the aim to help you create different kind of spaces and virtual spaces here during the program and then afterwards. And then the second main objective is to make this this process of accompanying you with your students into the design of these spaces, always aligned with the framework of the new European Bauhaus. So we are going to work with a soft part and with a technical part, and this is something important to know about the program as well. And also we have some side goals that are related with the share of different kind of resources from the Europeana web, and also from other open source websites where you can get different kind of material to use into the spaces. We are always to empower you to create new ideas, just not to for a space, but also for educational method of for a process, for a workshop or whatever you may think of during the program. And all of this is also something that we call the democratization of the digital transformation, because it's really easy to create this new, to use these new tools and to use them in an intelligent way. So it may actually be very useful for you in your day-by-day work. And what about the audience? The main target here, and you are all here because we launched this this call some weeks ago, some months ago actually. Our main target was teachers who are right now into secondary education in your countries, as you know, in Spain, Italy, Greece, and Portugal. With the students between 12 up to 16 years old. And what we were expecting was to create groups per country with a number of 5 up to 8 teachers per country, that they are going to be facilitated by one person, one national person each. So what we are also what we were planning in the beginning was also to include teachers that are also are not only in the schools or in the formal educational paths, but also who are part of a team in another kind of institution, like it may be a library or a museum, but always teachers that have like their students with them, so they can be involved into the projects. And this is something that we wanted to put the focus on. We are also planning, and this is some news here, but we are also planning to guest some people from different areas, from the university or primary education, to join not the full program, but join some of the sessions just to learn how we are going to work, and maybe to lead the way to future editions with other kind of focus. But we are going to make these invitations during the program. About the team, we are here making the general coordination from in Macedonia. We are like splitting our roles, because I'm going to be more in the coordination part along with Isabel from Europeana Foundation, as you know, and David is going to be more like the national facilitator from Spain. And we are also counting with Marco, Emma, and Dora from Portugal, Italy, and Greece to be the facilitators in this program for each country. And then I'm going to get into the main part of the program. I'm going to talk about the different phases. There are like 5 main phases here in Build with Bits. And the first one and the second one are previous the program itself, but I'm going to talk about them just a bit, because the open goal, as you know, it started at July, and it has been open until right now. Actually, this is the last moment for someone to join the program. We are making this workshop open to everyone, so you have this last chance if you want to decide. And tomorrow we are going to organize another kickoff workshop, but this is focused especially on the people who are going to participate, for the participants for each country. So this session from tomorrow will be more focused, as I said, in the onboarding process, but also in telling about the different tools that we're going to use, making like a big tutorial, but we will also have some inspirational content as we had today. The phase 2, it's the onboarding, and it starts tomorrow. It won't be instant. I mean, I know that some of you will need some days to get into the platforms that we're going to use. I will explain all of this tomorrow, but we have like 10 days or 7 days left to make this full process in a proper way, along with the facilitators and with all the team. So we are here right now also to, because you have confirmed the availability and the interest in joining the program. So I suppose this is not a problem for you. And also, we want you to meet your national facilitators. If not today, probably tomorrow, we are planning some activities to make this. And also during all this week, you have the chance to talk with your national facilitators in your own language as well. And as I said, we are going also to make you start thinking about the project. Some of you have ideas from before, and some of you don't know what to do yet. And this is not a problem. We say it in the form. But we wanted you just to take all these ideas and all this inspiration that you have gathered today. So maybe it can influence in your project, or it can make you like think in different ways as you plan it in the first moment. So this is something that is going to change, and your project is something that is going to evolve along the program, and it's good to think about it, to change it, to mix it, to tell it to the other people here participating, just to create something that really you think it's useful for you, and it fits what we are going to make here. And I suppose that this first week is key for you to learn about how to plan this project. And as I said, you have the help from the facilitator as well. And then if we come to the program, to the main part of the program, we are also splitting the program in the way I told you before, that is a technical part and also a soft part. And the meaning of this is that on the one hand, we have the learning pills that are going to be focused on this technical content about Mozilla Hubs, and also Spoke, that is the tool that we're going to use to create the spaces for Mozilla. And these pills are going to take place weekly, and will be given by David and me. And the duration of these pills will be like 2 hours per week, and they will take place on Mondays regularly. This is the time that we have established for the learning pills. This is 5 to 7 UTC +1. This is the time in Spain and in Italy. It's an hour less in Portugal and an hour more in Greece. So this is important for you to know as well, just to take to know the times right. And then the right part here, that is on the other hand, the mentoring sessions that are going to be the soft part, and it has a focus on the you can say didactical or educational or methodological or procedural part, and it's going to be given by the national facilitator, with this focus on not how to create something, but why creating something, or what are the steps that I need to make this possible, how to involve the students, how to create new dynamics, how to create new ways to use these tools, and it will be like softer than the other part. So you can count on like 30 minutes dedication live per participant and per week to make this part. And I will explain this a bit later in a minute. So the learning pills, talking again about the technical part, the learning pills are going to take place in 6 weeks. These are or weeks that come one after the other, except for the 4th pill, because we have here an intermediate week that is the November 1st. That it's a holiday here in Spain, and I guess that also in Portugal and in Greece. So we are not going to make this pill that day. So I suppose that you all, the teachers and everyone, wants to enjoy that day without having this appointment. And the learning pills, these 2 hours, are going to be structured in this way here in the right part. First of all, we are going to make like the welcoming and the short warm up, just to check everyone is there and to make a little small talk here. And then we are going to do a weekly review per country. Now, this is something that is going to be made by the national facilitators, up to like 5 minutes per country approx, just to tell everyone how the last week was, just to make like an status about if the projects are getting results, or if the projects are lost, what are the main questions that everyone is doing, or just to share this and make like this review moment of the session. Then we will teach the technical part, the technical content. And this could take like 45 minutes, or it may change. It depends on the week. And we will make this in an I think original way, because we are going to share some videos that are pre-recorded with the movements in the screen. I mean, like a video tutorial, but we are going to talk over the video live. So it's something useful, because you will get all these videos recorded afterwards, and you will have them like video tutorials, just to check them if you can't attend some of the session, or if you want to review something that you may need for the creation of your space. And after all the technical session, we have reserved here like a Q&A as well, a Q&A blog plus chat, just not only to make questions, but also to share, to start new conversations, to meet each other, and to have the opportunity to make something related with this. I mean, to make something about the social part of this program, because we are here people from different countries with different cultures and with different interests, and reading all the applications, I saw that there are like people that should meet during the program. So I think that this is the moment, and afterwards, obviously, you will have the opportunity to keep the conversation. I didn't say that these sessions will take place in English, the learning pills. And on the other hand, the mentoring sessions have a different target, a different focus, because these ones will be held in your own language, because they are going to be given by the national facilitators, as I say. Also, we are going to give you some freedom about what tool you can use to make these sessions. We prefer to use Discord. That is the platform that we are going to use for the entire program after this workshop. But we also want you to feel comfortable with the tool, because maybe you want to talk by a phone call with your facilitator, and that's okay for us. And also, you have the possibility, of course, to write to them through the chat at Discord or WhatsApp or whatever you need. But this is something that we are going to be adjusting in the first weeks, just to assure that everyone feels comfortable with the tools and with the processes. So we need also feedback about what do you like about this, and we will try to put everything in the best way for all of you. And also regarding the time, the mentoring sessions are not going to be fixed like the learning pills. So you can make the appointment with your facilitator in the way you want. Maybe some of the facilitators want to establish like a slot when you can talk, or maybe you can arrange this weekly. This is something that will be up to you. Regarding also the advances and the needs of every project. And also, we have here the time that the facilitators are going to be dedicated to the program per week, and this is something it's just a guide. But some weeks maybe you will need more help, and some other weeks maybe you are working on your project and you don't need to talk with the facilitator. So I suppose it will be we will try to balance times along the program. But anyway, this is something that we are going to also to see when we start. So everyone has the times balanced, and if some facilitator maybe need help, then I can also enter some of the groups to make this session and to give you some advice and some feedback about the project. So this is something that we are going to have in mind as well. And the final part of the program, or maybe of the core part of the program, is the delivery of the projects. We don't want you to make very complex projects or finished projects, but we want you to show something for the program. And this something is going to be probably a space created. Maybe this space is as I'm explaining, maybe it's the final part of a process, maybe it's the start of a new process, maybe it's something experimental, but it will be very nice for you to create a new space and test it inside the program. Besides this, you can include every kind of file that you want into this deliver part, but this is something more technical, so I will explain this maybe tomorrow or maybe during the program, because we don't want you to put the focus on the final result, but we want you to enjoy and to learn during the process. So we don't want to give too many details about this in this moment, actually. And this is the final, not the final part, but the part after the program itself. And this is something that we haven't talked about before for the same reason as the last slide, because this is not a competitive program. We don't want you to feel like you are here because a reward or because you want to win the final prizes. But we want you to announce this because I think that also is relevant in the sense that there are some criteria that we are going to evaluate after the program, so we can give like a recognition to some of the projects, one per country and some running-ups. And the criteria is that, and you are also here because of that reason, the criteria is that we expect the project to be obviously aligned with the new European Bauhaus values that are beautiful, sustainable, and together, as you already know. And also, we are going to incentivize the use of European open license content. We are also going to value if your project have some kind of relevance or originality in this framework, and also your commitment with the program. I mean, it's okay if you can't attend some of the sessions because, as I said, we are going to record them, but maybe we are going to reward before someone that has been there in the platform and talking with the facilitator and talking with other people and very involved into the program before someone that maybe has gone only one day and we don't know where he is exactly. And this is something that we also wanted to share you just to have in mind. But we are going to explain this with more detail when we are closer to the final date, and this will take place in December. And also, the prices that I have mentioned are actually for everyone. We have planned to make a new room with all of the links to your own rooms. So with different portals, as you watched it before. And we are going to create this for everyone. So this is like the general price, the general reward for everyone. And these spaces will be open for everyone to visit them in the moment you want. But also for some of the projects, we are going to create a special event inside this space, so they have the opportunity to talk about the projects. And also we're planning an inspirational masterclass about all of these that we have talked about, and about different topics that you may find relevant to learn about after the program, and maybe something that you have left and you think that it could be useful for you. And this is the phase 5, and that is actually the phase 4 as well. This is the exhibition. We will create something like this. This is a garden that we have built in Mozilla Hubs for other things, but this works like a space built itself by different portals that makes you go towards different spaces or different rooms. So we can create something like this. It will not be with this design, but we wanted to give this reward for everyone, and to make this, because it's really funny then to invite your friends, your family, or whoever into the space and see what you have been working on during this month. So I think it would be very, very emotional for all of you when you see your creation placed here in the virtual space. And then we will celebrate this virtual meeting, and as I have told you in the last slide. But again, I don't want to put too much focus on this right now, and some of the details will be revealed during the program, so you can put the focus right now in your process and in your own project. And this is just a screenshot of a quick view of all the weeks that we have here. The 6 weeks with the learning pills, the intermediate free week, or when you can obviously work on your project, but we will be like not making this peel. And also the 8 mentoring weeks that start next week, and then it will last until the final week, when you are supposed not to be receiving so much mentoring, because it's the delivering time actually. And then we have December to announce the winners, and January to have this space uploaded into the cloud, into the internet. And just to sum up the presentation, I wanted to introduce you the tools that we are going to use during the program. Again, once more, I don't want to talk about the tools, but we think it's important just for you to know. Discord will be the main tool where everything is meant to happen. And this is the mentoring sessions, the learning pills, the day-by-day updates, and all the networking that may result from the interaction from all among the participants, and whatever you want to do there. With the thing about the mentoring session that may be in other platform, if you feel more comfortable, if and you ask for us about that. And also we are going to have some Google Drive folders to store everything that you create, and this is something that we are going to share with you in the next days. And also just for you to have this clear and to keep everything gathered in a single one place, we have created an all-in-one page that is done like a tutorial about everything, about the tools, but also a place where you will have the mails from the facilitator, you will have the times of every session, you will have the links for all the content, you will have some tips, some references, and everything we give and everything we share, we're going to put it there. So you have to bookmark this page and have it like your reference page regarding the program. And finally, obviously, Mozilla Hubs and Spoke. And just as I have some minutes left, I wanted to make a bit introduction about Discord, just because maybe some of you don't know this platform that is very used by young people, especially today, by teenagers and gamers, I guess. And this is a channel-based platform that is like maybe Microsoft Teams or maybe Slack, or maybe the main reference that you may have in your work. And it works like a chat with different channels. And then here we have created different thematic channels with one for resources, one for off-topic, one for announcement, one for presentations. We have planned this Discord like this, and then we will have as well a channel per country and a channel per project. So you will have the opportunity to talk with the people you want into the space, into the platform. And also, and this is something important that I forgot to tell before, we want you to involve your students, but as you can imagine, that the platforms and all this infrastructure has some limitation, and some of you in the application say that you have like 100 or 200 students per teacher. So we have put like a temporary limit of 5 students per teacher into the platform, just to limit this participation in the learning periods or in the networking sessions. But it doesn't mean that all the rest of the students can't participate or can be involved in other ways. But this is something that we want to talk to you individually in the first week, in this onboarding week, because maybe some of you feel that you have already your own channels with your students and they don't want to be here. Maybe some of you want to include more of them, and we will try to make everyone feel comfortable also with the number of students here in the platform, just to get that balancement that I was talking about before. And this is just a screenshot of the page that I mentioned in the 2 slides ago. This is the tutorial about Discord, and actually tomorrow we are going to make this onboarding into the platform, so you can start the weekend inside the platform. And just to tell you that this will take place tomorrow, so I'm not going to stop here, because we actually have finished the presentation of the program. And first of all, thanks to all of you for coming, for signing up into the program. It's going to be very exciting, we know. And also we have now like 15 minutes left to make some questions. But before this, I just wanted to say that we would prefer that these questions are focused on the general issues about the program, the more general questions or that you may have, and not regarding the more technical part, because tomorrow we are going to focus on that. So if you have any question, you can write it in the chat, or you can open the mics, and I will be ready to answer, and maybe Isabel or David or whoever wants to answer. So thank you, and that's all for the moment.
Thank you.